How do we make America great again? Good evening, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Silver Dad Knows. Remember, always live with no edits. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button now, as you're going to like what I'm about to say. So just to begin, I do want to start off with this 1950 Franklin half dollar. These half dollars, Franklin half dollars in particular, are amongst my all-time favorite pieces, especially when it's not considering the silver rounds. Huge fan of the Walking Liberties, but I will say I'm more of a fan of these Franklin half dollars. The Franklin half dollar features a simple design with wonderful attention to detail. These 50-cent pieces were minted from 1948 to 1963. The last one I showed was 1949. This is 1950. Right here we have the profile of Benjamin Franklin, and then you go to the back and you have the Liberty Bell and Eagle right there. So yes, 1950 Franklin half dollars have been exchanged for over 70 years now. And with its age, these coins have some, age-related wear and tear on their surfaces. As a coin that was originally intended for circulation, it is not surprising that many of these coins available today show their age. Franklin half dollars, however, still can be found in brilliant, uncirculated condition. Such coins look fresh off the mint's presses, and coins in this condition, of course, are much, much more valuable. Franklin half dollars from 1950 in circulated condition are worth between $15 to $25. However, on the open market, 1950 half dollars in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $2,600. So, quite a bit if you got something special. But yes, very attractive, very charming, and takes you back to a magical time here in America. Real quick before I continue, I want to give a quick shout out. This is to one of my loyal subscribers from a comment they made last night, and this is Ron McAdams 7650. I love the U.S. half dollars. I have several tubes, each of Walking Liberty, Ben Franklin, Kennedy 90%, and Kennedy 40%. The feel and clanking it together sound is special. History in the palm of my hand. So yeah, super cool comment right there from Ron McAdams 7650, and you're doing well. You have the Franklin halves, the Walking Liberties, the Kennedy 90%, and the Kennedy 40%. Of course, I would always encourage you just to be getting the Kennedy 90%. The only time I really make an exception to the 40% is when I get those 1971 Dwight D. Eisenhower dollars. But generally, I always want to be getting 90% silver pieces. Because let's face it, silver is the new oil. Its growing role is still underappreciated and underestimated. By 2027, the International Energy Agency forecasts that solar will outpace coal and natural gas and will become the single largest source of power globally. You must have silver to power solar. Solar required 100 million ounces 4 years ago. It was 190 million last year, and experts are saying it will be over 200 million ounces by 2025. The demand for silver has more than doubled since 2020. Solar itself is about 20% of all industrial demand. Industrial demand has grown to over 600 million ounces of silver. Solar now represents 20% of every ounce of silver supply every year. Do not underestimate the risk of not owning silver. Unfortunately, we cannot predict when black swan events will occur, but we can always prepare for them. We're living in a new inflationary age, and this inflation decade is only going to continue. Silver is used in so much: equipment, electronics, machinery, art, medicine, jewelry, everything. There's a lot less silver than people think. India is not only leading the world in its gold buying spree, but they're also making records with the amount of silver they're stacking. India imported 70 million ounces of silver in February alone. That's over 8% of the global yearly mining production, and just in 1 month. Silver is an inflationary asset. It's part of the green revolution. It's a monetary metal and historically undervalued. The central banks already realize they're screwed. That's why they're buying precious metals, because gold and silver, you can't make them out of thin air like a currency and add more zeros. So I ask you the essential question, the crucial question. How do we make America great again? More small businesses and less corporations. More entrepreneurs and less students. More work and productivity, less handouts. It's very simple. You look back in history, in our rich history, when were times better? When men were working earlier, when they were serving their military, when they were working the fields, when they were handy. You know, now it's like, oh, did you go to school? Did you do this? I mean, dude doesn't know how to mow a lawn. Dude doesn't know how to do any of the above. Oh, but did you go to school? You know, it's just so foolish to me, because remember, I went to university, and sadly, the way it's become, it is not something I would endorse nor encourage for the majority of people. So yes, beautiful, beautiful piece. I've had this one, I want to say, going on 6 years now, maybe even 7. It's one of the first pieces I ever bought, and I loved it because Mark McGwire, I grew up always being a fan of major leagues. You know, my father played, my uncle played, my entire family has played. And yes, right here we have a silver round honoring Mark McGwire when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals for the most home runs in a season, which was 70 to be exact, and this was back in 1998. These are incredibly scarce, and every time I see them for sale, they're expensive. I want to say the least expensive one I saw, and it was in way, way worse condition than this. It was going for like $65, $70. And that's the least expensive I've seen. I was seeing other ones over $100. But no, this is very, very special piece to me. And then it always takes me to that time in my life, you know, when I was growing up watching Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, you know, all these elite baseball players, Ken Griffey Jr., Derek Jeter when he was younger, Alex Rodriguez when he was younger. I mean, there's just so many to name. I'm kind of naming, you know, more of the mainstream people. But it was the steroid era. And it was the era that made baseball so popular again. And kind of going back to what I shared yesterday, folks, my third book is already live right now on Amazon. The e-Kindle is, and in a couple days, they are going to come out with the paperback and the hardcover. The book's going to be released on June 25th, but as I said, the pre-order's already live. This is my hobby, as is silver. And yeah, you know, I just thought it was super cool that, you know, Mark McGwire is not necessarily in this story, but he's so relevant to this story because this book, though it is fictitious, you know, it's a sports thriller, it's a bioepic, a sports epic. It is based on real players from the past, real athletes, the best of the best. And so, yes, folks, again, my hobby, this is my third book. Go check it out. You're going to notice in the description, the pre-order is live. But yes, back to our silver. I want to discuss this one just a little bit more before we end this evening. These Franklin half dollars, guys, you do want to be getting your hands on. You want to have as many of these as possible. Have every single year that these were released, and yes, have them in boatloads. These coins right here, you just cannot go wrong. If you are serious in this game, you know, yeah, this is fun right here. This is, of course, you can make profit on this if that's what you're seeking, but this is more a fun piece, you know, a piece for yourself. These, however, these are, you know, little assets, you know, because you can actually barter with these later on. Things get really bad. It's going to be so much easier to barter with this than it would with this. And I mean, trust me, they're going to want this, but you're going to be losing out more silver. You're better off handing out things like this, like the Buffalo nickels, like the Mercury dimes, even you know, these generic modern 5 nickels pieces right here. But folks, as always, thank you so much for joining us for another evening of Silver Dad Knows. God bless you. God bless your household. And as always, God bless America.